Welcome in, everybody. Dan Wiederer from the Chicago Tribune, joined by Dionne Miller of ABC 7 Chicago. The NFL offseason has begun for 30 teams. The Chiefs and the Buccaneers still have one more kind of important game to play in Super Bowl 55. The Bears, however, are off and running in their search for a new everything, it seems. And so we'll start with two words, Dionne. Deshaun Watson. What do you think?
He's not coming to Chicago, unfortunately. I think that the fact that they passed him over before doesn't sit well with him. He remembers that vividly. Also, I just don't feel like the Bears have enough to give up to get that kind of an asset at quarterback. Now, my only caveat there is, Dan, that I would have said probably the same thing about a Khalil Mack, and he's been on the team now for 3 seasons. So I don't put it past Ryan Pace to at least crunch the numbers. Do your due diligence. You have to, right? Doesn't every team in the league have to do that? Have to sit down and say, okay, what could we realistically make work here? Or what could we at least offer? You have to throw your hat in the ring and at least give yourselves a chance, because as you said, the Bears need everything. Now, he would need more. The Bears would need more than just Deshaun Watson, because he would need more around him to complement what he can do. But gosh, would that be a huge step in the right direction?
There's no question, if you're Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, you owe it to yourselves to at least explore this, right? To get behind closed doors up at Hallis Hall or in your respective homes, if we're all working from home these days, and just say, what would it take? You know, what would it take in terms of draft capital? What would it take in terms of financial restrictions in inheriting that contract? And what kind of things would we have to move around to make it fit under a very tight salary cap heading into 2021? But the bottom line is you need answers at the most important position on your roster. You're coming off 2 very disappointing seasons that were torpedoed by poor quarterback play. And you have a new lease on life from your bosses at Hallis Hall saying, go find us a new quarterback. And so if somebody like this comes available, you have to at least pursue it. Certainly the rest of the league is pursuing this as well. I know you've seen it on social media now where fan bases from coast to coast are playing the Photoshop game and putting Deshaun Watson in their team's uniform. And boy, does he look good in a lot of different uniforms. And so there's going to be fierce competition here. The Texans, with a new general manager, have an opening here to really figure out a way to make the best of a terrible situation. The fact that Deshaun Watson wants to leave their organization is a terrible, terrible starting point for a new general manager and a new coach. But you are going to have the ability to name your price, right, with the supply and demand economics of the NFL. And let's see where it goes. I mean, that is priority number 1 for Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy this offseason. And so you got to have 20 to 30 binders on your desk saying option A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K.
Yeah. You're exactly right. I mean, every option under the sun, every different scenario under the sun, they have to leave no stone unturned when it comes to figuring out that position that has been so backwards and wrong for this organization for so long. They've got to find a way to make that right at quarterback. And I hope they're not tied too much into the Nick Foles deal and the fact that they're going to be making up for this lost time that they had with choosing Trubisky over Deshaun Watson and not making that the original decision, right? So how far does this lead them down this winding path? Because I don't think they're going to get Deshaun Watson. I want to be surprised. I want to be pleasantly surprised, but I don't think that is really going to be realistic. So that again leaves open scenario A, B, C, D. When this doesn't go our way, what is next for this Bears team, and how do they get that position right during this offseason? Because they have to get something going at the quarterback position very, very quickly.
No question. And so you explore trades, you explore free agency, you explore the draft. In my opinion, the most likely scenario here is they'll end up drafting a quarterback this spring, and they'll end up using Nick Foles as a bridge quarterback to start the season for you and try to get you moving in the right direction and try to get things off the ground that way. The problem this year, Dionne, in drafting a quarterback is you're going to be in this very unorthodox offseason in 2 ways. Number one, you're not going to have the tools at your disposal that are available to you in most normal pre-draft processes in terms of going to meet with a quarterback on his campus, spending extensive time with him, bringing him to your facility, into your building, getting him into your classrooms and telling him to get on the whiteboard and draw up everything that he needs to draw up to teach you a little bit about his football acumen, teaching you a little bit about himself. Then if you do draft the guy, the likelihood again this spring is that you're not going to be on the field for OTAs and minicamp. And so the delay in development once again in 2021 is going to be a factor for rookie And so here you are, an 8-8 team, needing your quarterback position to be solidified, having no easy answers. And then even if there were easy answers, you have even more obstacles to navigate around.
Follow the road to 8-8 for a Thursday. It's like it's a hamster wheel, Dan. Like, it is so hard for them to get off of this because of the poor decisions that were made that have now been like a domino effect to kind of to have to make up ground and try and get it right. I mean, it's really telling when Deshaun Watson says he wants to leave Houston and every team in the league is clamoring to get something on the table for this guy. And the Bears' #2 overall draft pick makes a headline because he got engaged. Okay, that's all we're talking about when it comes to Mitch Trubisky. That is a sad reality for the Chicago Bears.
You were very excited for Mitch to get engaged. Good for him.
Yeah. Although now, not my line. I heard this on the radio here in Chicago this week, but somebody said, "Good for Mitch. This is the only way he'll get any rings in his whole life," which is
that's
sad,
cruel.
But it's cruel, but probably true. And I mean, depending on where he ends up, I guess.
But good for Mitch. Good
for Mitch. Yes.
Nice young man. He's going to have a bright future ahead of him wherever he goes. It's probably not going to be in Chicago in 7 or 8 weeks. And so he'll flip the page and he'll get a new start with a new football team and a new bride. I mean, that's a good 2021 for Mitch.
Totally. I mean, as I've said all along, backup on the Browns. This is where he is destined to be a backup in Cleveland. That's just his hometown. It'd be like so. It would all just be all back to. It would be full circle if he got to go back home.
It'd be very, 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 very interesting. The Bears have a lot of work to do overall as we go forward. And I did want to bring this up. We talked about that season-ending press conference and what a calamity it was and an embarrassment that it was for the organization. And I know you printed out, I think you said it was 15 pages, used a lot of toner in your house to get that all printed out. But in addition to the C-word collaboration that everyone in Chicago has been talking about for the last few weeks, they also used the word continuity on multiple occasions, talking about how they believed in the continuity. And one of the biggest reasons of bringing Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy back was because continuity can be valuable. They need a new defensive coordinator. Well, they promoted Sean Desai to take that role. Check. That box is checked. You still need a new defensive line coach. You are replacing, you're making changes at outside linebacker coach, inside linebacker coach, running backs coach. If you want a passing game coordinator, Dave Ragone has gone to Atlanta. So there has been a absolute exit at Ellis Hall.
Yeah.
With coaches walking out that front door, and whatever continuity that you believed in is no longer there at quarterback. It's no longer there on your coaching staff. And you've got to figure out a way to figure out how to play winning football in 2021 with a lot of changes coming, despite no changes at the top.
What's at the root of the mass exodus? I mean, granted, you know that Chuck Pagano leaving did open that door defensively for a lot of those assistant coaches to feel like they're moving on, but they promoted from within. Like Desai was there. So isn't he gonna keep the guys that he's worked with and that know him? And I mean, I think you heard Sam Acho talking about how ready Desai is for this moment, and he's so assertive and he knows what he wants. And maybe these assistants knew that they weren't what he wanted. Maybe he was that obvious about it. Who knows? But it is very interesting to me to see this exodus happening as quickly as it does while Pace and Nagy remain in place. And you would think they put these guys there, especially offensively, that those guys would have stuck around and known that they had a place to be. And now these are holes that this Bears team has to fill, a Bears team that has this much margin for error. I mean, that might even be too much. Like, they have no margin for error. And so now they're filling in holes. And now we've got, like you said, this weird growing pains again with a new pieces of the staff, and what will that look like? And not to mention the change in personnel. And it just, I feel like, again, we sit here with too many questions, way more questions than answers. And I know it's the off season, but as teams are filling like one or two holes and you see the Bears look like Swiss cheese, you're kind of like, okay, well, this is going to be a little more challenging.
Well, it's a self-preservation league, right? And if you're a coach and you've got relationships elsewhere in the league and you have an opportunity to go join a new staff that is going to have time on their side, right? If you go to Atlanta, if you're Dave Ragone and Ted Monachino and Charles London, and you say, well, this is a new staff, they're going to get at least 2 years to prove themselves, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe beyond. And you look at Chicago and you say, if things go haywire in 2021, which is very well within the reason realm of possibility that everyone gets blown out. And so you reach for
Yeah.
security, right? You reach for job security. And that's part of this. But your other point here, when you look at, you mentioning the Swiss cheese, when you watch the conference championship games and you see the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers, and you see the level of football that they're playing, it's just one more reminder of just how far away this organization is from even being relevant on that weekend, on conference championship weekend. All those organizations obviously have very, very good quarterbacks. And the other part of the equation is that they're just better teams, top to bottom. And the Bears don't even fit in that ballpark. And so there is some reality check moments that are ahead for this organization, this front office, this coaching staff through much of 2021, I think. And they've already started to experience it in the month of January here, which, by the way, started with a playoff loss, included that press conference, and now has included this exit of a lot of assistant coaches who were in the building for a while. Matt Nagy's original staff that he had in 2018, that's not that long ago. 3 years ago, we were getting to meet Matt Nagy for the first time in Hallis Hall. The only ones who remain in their original role are Chris Tabor, the special teams coordinator, and Mike Furry as the receivers coach. And so continuity has not been in the equation for the coaching staff at this point.
That is stunning to me. I knew that there had been a lot of turnover, but that is really stunning to me. And I mean, who exactly is collaborating then? These are like get to know you sessions. Like they're like all still trying to get acquainted more than collaborate at this point. I mean, is the collaboration only between Ted, George, and Ryan and Matt? It's like the quartet collaboration that's actually happening? Everything else is just peripheral. Who knows? I got to tell you though, Dan, you were talking about reality check of the playoffs. Tom Brady has been my reality check. Like we're the same age. Like I might be a touch older than him, but good Lord, he makes it look so easy. And it's just unbelievable how he's aging backwards. Like he's officially Benjamin Button. Like I can't figure it out. It's a wild scene. Definitely a reality check for me.
I know I am a touch older than him, maybe the same high school graduating class. I don't know, but I know I'm a few months, if not 7 or 8 months older than him. And I do know this. I'm tired of Tom Brady. I'm tired of Tom Brady playing in the Super Bowl. I actually was looking forward to a Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers showdown where you could have the old elite quarterback versus the young elite quarterback. Now, you still get that with Brady versus Mahomes, but how many times do we got to watch Tom Brady in a Super Bowl? Give me something fresh. Give me something new. Give me some new twists on the drama, and here we are. I guess we'll prepare for Tommy Brady.
I agree with you. Like I'm kind of over that too, but at the same time, like, gosh, I'm blown away. Different team. It's amazing what an elite quarterback can do to raise the level of play of everybody around him. And having not seen that in this city with this Bears franchise for so long, that's why it's been interesting to watch, because it's just so foreign. It's so foreign. Like that's not what we're used to watching every week when we cover this team.
It's beyond foreign. And
yeah.
it's crazy to think about just how far away they are. And again, they have heavy lifting. They have a steep climb. All of these things are ahead of them in 2021. And it goes back to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. They tried to sell folks on the idea that this journey was, 2/3 of the way to the top of the mountain. It's not. No, they are closer to the base than they are to the peak. And I'll keep repeating that until they prove otherwise. And so just buckle in and understand that it's going to take some really, really big moves, big splash moves, some calculated plays, some good draft picks, all of it, collaboration, cohesion, talent. We could name 158 things just to get them back to winning 10 or 11 games and being a legitimate contender in the NFC. For now, we traipse into the cold, dark months of winter and February and try to get ourselves through it.
Hey, look, the sun is shining today. I'm choosing to be optimistic, and Deshaun Watson hasn't signed with anybody else yet, so there is reason for optimism.
That's right. And so we've got about 6 weeks before that trade can become official in the league database. And so the Deshaun Watson watch will continue until it no longer exists, and we'll be right on it along the way. Big milestone recently, Dionne. We have surpassed 1,000 subscribers on this channel.
That's
Big
so
deal.
Amazing. That is woo, party.
So the newbies that are watching, click that subscribe button. I know we always point it out. We don't know where it's at. It's over here. It's there.
Subscribe.
Click it. Keep subscribing. Pass the words on to your friends, and we'll keep bringing you quality content and good content.
Always.
You got it. Thanks as always for joining.